in irreconcilable ways. Then there's the frightening thing that she'll become unattractive.
That's just about a guarantee, and she'll be mirroring your face as well.
Well, I'm talking about what I want here.
Oh, but she's gonna have the wrinkles that you have. She's gonna have the sagging ass that you have. It's watching your own decay through someone else.
Thank you. So I find it frightening, but not as frightening as the alternative. I have lots of fears about growing old with someone, but not nearly as many fears as growing old without someone.
Do you think if you stayed in love, you would still be attracted no matter what the age was?
I remember this married couple I'd been really close to for like 30 years. The husband said, if you were to take a pee every time man and woman make love in the first year together and put it in a bottle, and then take out a pee every time after the first year that they make love, they'll never exhaust the bottle. I do think that like sexual attraction tends to diminish over time, and that you come to like a more calm place. Like the sexual urge is kind of a frantic scratching, rubbing, itching. It's frantic. It's not really the loving act. It's like a frantic act. So I do expect the sexual urge to diminish, though I hope not go away. And then like calm and like shared interests, like picking up the slack.
Do you think it's possible for the sexual relationship to deepen as the couples get to know each other better?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I can't, like, that would be something she'd have to show me. Like, for me, like, sex is like this urge that I have to satisfy so I can think straight. And, like, the idea that, like, sex could be a loving act, and that it could deepen, and it could be an expression of love. That's something I'd have to learn from her. For me, it's like this frightening need, this scratching, an itch, or
what do you think God wants from the sexual relationship between a man and a woman?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Not that God.
Let's talk about me here. Let's aim this me. What does God... I think the same thing as he wants, like, from our eating and drinking, and from the way we spend money and earn money, and I think he wants us to enjoy ourselves within the boundaries that he set up. So I think that God wants man and a woman in marriage to really enjoy each other sexually, but to do it within the boundaries he set up. So probably shouldn't look at porn while you're doing it.
So if you're in a loving, married relationship, do you think you would stay interested sexually?
Yeah, but it would... See, what would happen is it would enter a land that I've never been. So you're talking about going to a land I've never been and what it'd be like living there. I've got like these faint notions of like looking through the fog or seeing movies about this foreign land or reading books. You can get to a place where you feel really strongly bonded to the other person, and that sex becomes not just this like frantic need, but as an expression of love. And and you want to maintain that connection and bond with the other person, and so that you feel like they're flesh of your flesh and that you're like part of one entity. So I've kind of like read about that or heard about that from people who are married. But I've never been married and never had a relationship longer than about a year, so I don't really know what that land is like.
Azar Kenegdo?
Is that a helpmate who is equal to him?
A helpmate against him.
Yeah. I'm raising up a helpmate against him who will be his equal. Yeah, so I've read about that and heard about that, but you're asking me what life would be like in a land where I've never been.
If you're in a relationship, if you're married, I've often heard that once kids come into the picture, it is just way difficult to maintain a satisfying sex life.
Yeah, or not even sex life, just maintaining a good marriage. Like many of the happiest married people are people who don't have kids. So I think like the odds I think that the downsides to happiness of having kids are at least as strong as the upsides, if not more so. But I don't view having kids as like happiness machines. I just view it as like leading a deeper life.
Even after your childhood?
What do you mean? I still want to have kids.
Yeah, even after your childhood?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I was born. I'm glad I'm here. Glad I get to meet you and to know you.
And what else?
To know you in the biblical way. I'm glad I had this opportunity.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
I asked my cousin who recently had his second baby, not one of my Orthodox cousins.
You have cousins who aren't Orthodox?
It's
Wow.
through my sister's side of her in-laws.
Oh, that's
But they're
right.
Jewish. They're Jewish.
Sure they are.
And I asked him if it was true that you're just so much happier and feel so complete when you have children. And he said, it's great, but it's nothing like this huge transformational act. He said it's such incredibly hard work.
Yeah.
And there's so much joy. So he said it all comes out about evenly.
But I'm sure it's different for each person. Like, I'm sure. Like, let's say you got a Down syndrome child. Or a child who's just ugly. Like, not very smart. Or just, like, vicious. Some kids are just vicious. Like, just imagine raising a kid who's just vicious, who likes torturing animals.
I have about 3 girlfriends who have kids with autism.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine those challenges. Oh.
I think at least 2 of them, if they could take back having the kids, they would.
Yeah.
I think your life changes really severely and profoundly.
Like, I fear that I'm like a shallow and not very good person. I would dread having a child with those disabilities.
If you knew through an amnio or some other technique that your child was carrying, that your wife was carrying, was indeed a Down syndrome baby and would lead that sort of life, and it was still within the first trimester, and you could stop the pregnancy, what would you do?
I'm ashamed to admit that my initial inclination, without consulting a rabbi or anything, is to not want that child. That's my feeling, and it certainly doesn't sound very moral to me, but it's certainly my feeling. Kind of like one of the reasons why I don't have this like deep sense of being a mensch.
You know, when you have kids, your whole life is about them.